Welcome to Students in the Studio. I'm your host, John Watson. Today, our guest is Dylan Bajo.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, so today is a special episode because you are the writer of our theme song.
Yeah. It was really interesting putting that together.
Yeah, I bet. I guess I should start as like a backstory to everyone listening and watching that when I started this project, I had the idea to write a theme song, but I knew that it just wasn't going to be good. And it kind of went against of like what I want to promote, which is everyone else.
Mm,
So, um, yeah, I met Dylan uh, last semester. Actually, we had a class
mhm.
spring 2024 for the archives, and you've been tutoring me for oral skills, so
Oh yeah.
I passed the class. Thank you. And yeah, I just got to know you and how talented you are, and it was just like a no brainer to ask if you want to be part of the project. So here we are. You wrote like an amazing piece, just something that's like hopefully interesting. I don't know. Hopefully people enjoy this, but we can just start there
Mhm,
and talk about the process of writing a theme song for something that you're, I guess, not sure how it'll play out.
mhm.
So what was that like?
Yeah, so I think when you first reached out, I was kind of because I've disclaimer, I'm not a composer. I'm not a trained composer, I should
Right.
say.
Yeah.
So I've been playing piano for forever, but I've taken some composition lessons, but I've never composed anything professionally. I've never
Right.
composed anything, um, been paid to write anything. I usually just write arrangements for, my church groups that I where I work at.
Mm.
But I've never actually written something from scratch. And when you first reached out, I was a little surprised, but interested in the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, and so I started to ask, what genre, what style of music, what characteristics and stuff are you thinking? And two words stood out. You said happy and whimsical
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
email. I remember that. And at the time, I was back in Spain visiting my family, and
Oh.
I was practicing during the summer Schubert Sonata, the second to last, A major, and it's a beautiful, beautiful sonata. And I even went to a concert where a pianist was playing the three last Schubert sonatas. So I always like to, listen to other people play stuff that you're practicing or stuff that you're playing,
Yeah.
just to learn from what they do differently.
Hmm.
And I think Schubert definitely was a bit of an earworm when I was working on this
Okay.
because um, I immediately thought, oh, happy and whimsical. I should do like a binary form, a rondo, scherzo of some. Sorry, not rondo, a scherzo of some sort.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's. I won't say. I mean, Schubert is obviously 100 times better than I am at writing music, but I definitely took some inspiration from his music because
So
I was surrounded by it,
yeah.
almost 24/7 when I was practicing it. So yeah, that's I guess the inspiration that I got
Okay.
for writing it.
Right on. I mean, it sounds great. And when I first heard it, I thought it was like perfect.
Mhm.
Um, were there any like modern influences other than Schubert for the piece?
Um, I'm not sure. It always amazes me how contemporary composers can be so creative,
Yeah.
and that's something that I haven't experimented with yet. I'm very new to the field of composition, so um, you know, uh, breaking barriers and writing new music is always really challenging. I feel like because you have
Yeah.
to come up with something original, something new.
Yeah. That's when you got to put in the work.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you got,
so I kind of stuck with what I knew. I think my comfort zone.
okay. Yeah, totally.
Mm,
Yeah, when I had the idea of like how I wanted to film the intro, and I just wanted to wait till I got the piece first, the music for it before I start filming. But I had the idea of, because I know it's going to be low budget, student produced, definitely indie quality, and I had the idea of like having an intro for like Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
The intro for that is like when they have "We're Gonna Be Friends" by the White Stripes, and they do all these scenes where it's like words on something, and I don't know. I thought that was something similar that I could pull off,
Mhm.
and yeah, I just went for it, and I just started filming a bunch of different different scenes. And actually, there's one thing that's different that it's so small you might miss it, but the trailer, or I guess the teaser, which is in real life will be out tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
It'll be like 2 months now, but it's basically the intro to every episode. But there's a scene where I'm like moving a fader on the mixer, and it says coming soon. But for the intro, it says book now. I use the same camera angle and everything, so I switched it out that time.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, I was kind of like, I wanted something very like subtle, a little difference there, but now everyone knows. Even if you missed it, go back and watch it now. Start this episode over, and yeah, you'll see. There's another thing too, actually. When I created you for the theme song,
Mhm.
I have it on the spine of a binder.
Oh.
And the way I did that was just taking a piece of paper, folding it up, sorry, folding it up like 5 times, which is not a great idea. I don't know why I thought that would work, but I wanted to, just in case I mess up, I can space out your name, make it, you can read it, it's eligible. But fold it up 5 times, and I had to like stuff it in the binder spine,
Mhm.
and it worked, but I can't get it out. So it's always going to be there forever. It's like a prop set that I'm gonna just keep
Yeah,
now.
for
So
posterity,
right,
definitely.
exactly. So
But no, when you sent me the intro, I was really amazed, like, you made the video work just so well with the
yeah,
music. Like, it was like, this phrase ends, and there's, a new scene. When you put the book in the
yeah,
bookshelf, it lines up with the chord. It's amazing.
yeah. I try to like plan it where it's like when I close a locker for performances, like
Mhm.
it ends there, and I try to be on beat.
Right, right.
Yeah. So that's something I'm happy with. I recorded that with not these cameras, a really cheap Amazon camera. And so, I mean, maybe the quality is different, but hopefully these are a little better. I mean, they're still cheap, but
Mhm.
I got 3 of them.
Yeah, it
So,
looks good on the screens.
yeah, right. And I do a little bit of color grading too, so warms it up a little bit so we don't look like vampires. But, vampires are cool. So. But yeah, so that's pretty much the thought process of how it came with putting together the intro. Um, but let's get back to you. How long have you been playing piano?
So I started playing when I was 8 years old. I was born and raised in Spain. I came to South Bend in 2019 to study my undergrad in piano performance. Um, I have some family in the area. My dad is from Michigan City. My mom is from Madrid, and they met there. And um, yeah, so I've always been back and forth visiting family, but I never
Mm,
actually lived here until 2019. And yeah, growing up playing piano there, I studied in the conservatory. Um, and then when I ended my studies there, I started a university degree in piano performance. And I don't know, with piano teachers, you really need to find someone that you work well with.
yeah,
Because it's one-on-one lessons,
yeah,
it's
true.
a lot of one-on-one time, and if if it's just not working, it's better to find another teacher.
Definitely.
And it may not be anyone's fault. It's just, not a good fit for you.
Yeah.
And I was definitely feeling that when I started my university degree in Spain.
Okay.
Uh, so it was a blessing in disguise. I came to study. I mean, I came to visit my family here, and I met Jennifer Muniz at
Okay.
the Michigan City Chamber Music Festival. And she was talking to me about how we have this new pianist, coming in, and how they were looking for new students. So I took a trial lesson. I was offered a scholarship, so it was a no-brainer. I just,
Yeah.
jumped from the deep end, came to live here full time, and yeah,
That's
I've
amazing.
stayed here since.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I didn't know that you're from Spain.
Mhm.
That's pretty awesome. And yeah, your adventures getting here, how that worked out is really cool. And it's funny because I was talking about Dr. M
Mhm.
and that for this next semester, this is going to be my last semester here as my undergrad, and I well, she was going to teach my class, one of my classes, and now she's on sabbatical, so
Mhm.
I have not had a class with her. It's always been just in passing, I guess.
Mhm.
But I've been studying with Jorge Muniz a lot,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah, they're both great.
yeah, they are. Yeah,
They keep the department together.
the power couple,
Yeah, definitely,
for
definitely.
sure. Yeah, yeah, totally. So tell us about the piece that you'll be performing today.
So this is Bach's Chromatic Fantasy and Fugue. Just the fantasy for today, but it's a wonderful piece. I first heard it. Um, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago now, um, and I immediately fell in love with it. I love Bach is one of those composers for me where uh, I just whatever I listen from him from his repertoire, from his list of works, everything is just so great. He doesn't
Yeah,
have, in my opinion, a bad work out there. Everything is so high quality. Um, and this specific chromatic fantasy and fugue, the fantasy is very improvisational in style.
mm,
There's a lot of fast runs, rolled chords, and it's called chromatic because it uses a chromatic motif.
okay,
So it's very parts of it can be very dissonant, parts of it can
yeah,
be very, misleading. You think you're going here, but then you're going
mhm,
over here and then over there. And the um, harmonic world of this piece is really interesting.
yeah,
It's and yeah, it's just a beautiful piece throughout. And I really enjoy playing it.
yeah,
So I started practicing it over the summer because you know usually with every year you prepare a um, different repertoire for uh, your performances or your the words evading me now your performances throughout the semester or um,
your repertoire, your
yeah, like the concert that
yeah,
you play, your
yeah.
recital,
Recital.
your
Okay, yeah,
recital. You
yeah, yeah,
prepare different repertoire for each recital.
yeah,
Um, and usually, pianists usually start with some Bach, and it's usually a prelude and fugue or French suite, something that you've heard a bunch of times.
yeah,
But this one is a little more obscure, so
yeah,
I really wanted to play it sometime. So I thought this semester was the one to do it.
yeah. I like the obscure stuff too.
Yeah.
So with your studying, what do you plan with your future with your degree? Like, what do you want to do with it?
So I would love to teach at the university level. That's kind of my final goal.
Yeah,
Um, I love performing. I love teaching. I just sometimes when you teach younger kids, sometimes it's feels a little more like babysitting. You get some awesome students that get it really quick,
yeah,
and you're pushing them forward, and it's really nice to see their development. Um, but I think at the end of the day, I just want students that already have a basis and are already
mhm,
interested in what you're doing,
right.
So
Instead of making their mom like give get piano lessons or something.
right, right.
Yeah, totally get that. I think you'd be a great teacher too. Like,
Mm,
I mean, from the tutoring that I got from you,
mm.
yeah, you definitely have patience, which is nice because I know I'm just kind of like I can imagine just wanting to yell at me. But yeah, I think that'll definitely work out. But
Mm.
so, what are you doing to work towards your dream job?
So, right now I'm the music director at First United Methodist Church of LaPorte, and
I'm
it's
familiar.
yeah, it's it's a bit of a commute, but I'm really happy to be there. There's certain jobs that a music student is more prone to. I think uh, part-time church gigs are a really good way of earning some money while you're studying. So I got hired there a couple years ago, and I've been running the choir, handbell ensemble, small wind band that they have. Um, and I was surprised because they hired me knowing that I played no organ,
Okay.
and they have a beautiful four-manual organ there at the sanctuary. It's an amazing instrument.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn on my feet a little bit, but I'm getting better with the pedals. I'm getting better with uh, my foot dexterity,
Yeah.
uh, you know, coordination and stuff. But the organ is a beast. It's a totally different instrument from the piano, but I'm very fortunate to be able to practice it there. Um, and that's actually a good way to connect with your fellow students too. The we have a very dedicated uh, volunteer base,
Yeah.
but sometimes they're a little overstretched, and especially post-COVID church is very different from pre-COVID,
Yeah.
where everything has to be live streamed, everything has to be recorded, um, and we were just not doing a very good job, with the microphone setup, controlling the soundboard, setting up the live stream. So that's where the pastor asked, "Hey, do you know anyone who knows anything about sound engineering? Who might help us out?" So, I immediately thought, John knows about this
Yay.
because I can play piano, but put me in front of the soundboard and I can't do anything.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, we're working on Sundays there now.
Yeah, we are. The buddies there. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
thanks again for the job. Yeah, it's something I'm totally interested in, and I think this kind of proves it. Like, I want to, have more knowledge in that kind of stuff. And so far, I've been liking it. You know, Still trying to brainstorm on what to do with the microphones. There's only so much you can do, but I
Mhm.
think I have an idea.
Yeah.
Well, to be continued on Sunday.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, well, it was really cool. Well, since you were talking about organ, uh, as someone who barely even plays the piano, what is the big difference between organ and piano
I
other
think
than more pedals?
Yeah, the first main difference obviously is one is a string instrument, the other is a wind instrument. But as far as playing is
Yeah.
concerned, the piano is weighted. The the key,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
feels like it has weight to it.
Yeah.
It has a fulcrum, and that part of the key weighs more than this part, so you have to work extra hard to lift up the hammer and hit the string. On an organ, the key is like it's almost like a button.
Oh,
You
okay.
press it. There's very little resistance, and there's no there's no depth to the key.
Mm.
You can't do dynamics by playing harder or
Oh,
softer.
okay. Yeah.
So it's just like kind of like a synthesizer.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so you have to play around on the organ with registers, with pulling different combinations of stops,
Okay.
meaning,
Yeah.
selecting different combinations of pipes to play together.
Yeah.
So there's a very big difference. You can make the organ sound like, you know, something that you'd hear at a ballpark, or you can hear it sound like something that you'd hear like, at like a big Gothic cathedral, with all the sonority and the fullness of it, and any range in between. You can. It's really the king of instruments for a reason.
Yeah.
You can make fantastic and wild sounds come out of
Yeah.
it.
I always enjoy hearing it at church too. It's like I like the rumble, like it
Mm,
brings too,
yeah.
and the bass. Well, on that note, are there any last words or performances you like to promote?
Yeah, so actually at church, we did a little bit of this last year, but we're actually starting a formal, concert series this year. Um, we're having, and the first two concerts are USB's Brass Quintet, which I know you had here not
Mhm.
long ago,
Yeah.
and they're playing on November 16th, I believe.
Mm,
Let me just check real
yeah.
quick.
Go ahead.
November 16th, 6 p.m. at Laporte time. So if you want to see that, they played twice at the church already, and um, they always bring, great
The
repertoire.
heat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the word. And then this is still unofficial, but it'll be official pretty soon. Um, So I guess by the time this airs, we'll already be starting rehearsals for this. But we're doing a performance of Messiah at church for Christmas.
Oh,
So we'll have a chamber orchestra, we'll have a full choir, and that'll be either the 21st or the 22nd of December. So, visit First United Methodist of LaPorte website once this podcast comes out and
yeah.
make sure, but those are the two dates that we're working with right now.
Yeah. When I post all the info to Instagram and Facebook, I'll put in the link to the church as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can get all the info going on. And I'm sure, we'll get more performances coming up too as the semester starts.
Mhm.
So everything will be updated. Everyone will know what's up.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for being here.
Yeah,
I really
my
enjoyed it.
pleasure.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And thanks again for the job too.
Oh, no, no, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
Thank you for helping us out.
yeah, no problem. And now to end the episode, performance by Dylan Bajo. This has been Students in the Studio. If you'd like to be a guest, please send an email at newanalogstudio@gmail.com or just message me, your classmate, John Watson. Our theme music was written by Dylan Bajo. For future performances, check out our info on Facebook or Instagram. Thank you for watching and listening.